So what we're going to accomplish in this meeting is we're going to talk about exactly what we need at the end of the night. We're going to show you what you need to do, and we're going to answer any questions that you have regarding that. If you have any questions about anything we talk about today when we get to the end of this thing, make sure to ask them today, because as of the end of this meeting, we're going to assume that everybody in the 7 stores that we've selected for this session are going to know exactly what it is we're looking for RQ4. So if you have any questions today, ask them today, please, okay? So we're going to go over to RQ4. I'm in the training module here, so we can actually show you some things. When you go to close at night, it's just like we did in Teletracker and in CellCell. The very first thing you want to do is you want to count the amount of cash you have in your drawer. With RQ4, you want to make sure you count even what they call the float, the $100. So count the amount of money that's in the drawer as the very first step. We then do cash management, and we do new cash out. Okay? We need to put in what we have here. Okay, that's pretty simple. They're not asking you to match a number here. They're asking you to put in what you see in the drawer. Okay, so in this case here, I have 200s. I have 250s. I have 520s. And for the sake of argument, I have 7 10s and 9 1s. Okay, so I've got 479 in the drawer. Actually, I've got a little more than that. Hang on. I've got 579 in the drawer. That's simple, right, guys? This should be no problem. You can take it off mute right now. This part should be no problem. Everybody should understand what's going on here. The number you have here is the amount of cash, amount of bills you have within the drawer. Click on the next button. Now, one of the problems we've had with people understanding a bit about this is the fact that you have what's known as a blind count available to you. All right, blind counts are common in the retail industry. What you were doing before where you had the exact amount is not common. Okay, so they're not going to fill out the data for you here. You need to fill it out yourself. So if you have a check, you would put that in. Now, right now, in this preview mode, because I'm actually in training, because we can't do a live one because it would affect what we're doing. You should have these numbers come up as well. Have you folks been seeing the numbers come up for the credit cards as you've been closing at night? Anybody? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know there would be numbers here already if you were closing normally, okay? In this case here, just for the sake of argument, I'm going to put in what I have in credit cards, but you will not have to plug these in, okay? So I'm going to put 158.99, and I've got Discovery for 125.60, and I have a Visa for 3. Sorry, though. Okay, when you come to the screen, normally these numbers will be filled in for you. If you have checks, that's the one thing you do have to put in yourself. You click on Next. This tells you the amount of float retained, which should always be 100. This is where we get into problems with everybody. We've come up with a new solution for you folks, okay? Basically, the cash out's not been verified. And rightfully, the complaint's been, well, how can I verify it when I can't see it? Okay, very valid comment. So what we're going to do from here on in is we're going to type in here, see email. Anytime you have the fact you have variance, you're going to put that in there. Click your name, type it in, and verify. Then we click Save. Now, at this point in time, everybody has been just printing out or emailing the report. But we need to do something different here from here on in, okay? First of all, you see in the bottom how much deposit, this much in the bank, okay? We know there's variances here. So there's a preview button here. When you click on preview, it's going to tell you what your variances were. So you can actually see this report before you send it out. So you want to write down whatever your variances are right here. In this case here, it's just a 39-cent variance. Okay, and we're going to put that down as due to change. If you find a larger variance, like your cash is off by more than a couple dollars, this is where you go back and you research and find out exactly what you're missing. Okay, and this is where you have to go back, recount your cash, take a look at what's supposed to be into it, and come up with a reason as to why that's missing. Hang on a second here. You want to write down the amount you're depositing in the bank, which is $479. Before I move on any further, James, any other comments you got about this at this point?
No, I think the most important thing, guys, it would make my life a ton easier if you could just make sure to put how much you're going to take to the bank in the body of the email. That would save me from searching for it.
And that's what we're going to talk about next, is when we go to email it. Okay, down in the body is where you'd write off by 39 cents due to change, excuse me.
Hey, Dan?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to follow up with my reps, but I'm 100% sure that they're not able to send the email right from RQ4 with their logins.
Okay, I was not aware of that yet. If any of your reps are not able to, please let me know after this. Okay, I know we had one problem in Port Charlotte where one person could, another person can't. Jackie, has that been resolved yet?
Yeah, we got it fixed. Dan was able to email out yesterday.
Okay, good. And you were as well?
Yep.
Good. Talk to me about it after the meeting, Ali, but that's a specific thing. By the way, for any DMs that are on the call, when you add an employee to the list, you also need to contact me because we need to put in an email address for them that I have to put in, and then ATI has to make a move as well. So just adding an employee does not give them access to the email.
Dan, also in our store, like Ali said, he can from his login, it can be sent, but it goes from the old WZ711 at wirelesstone.com instead of from the new email address.
All emails sent out of RQ4 will always go by your WZ email address. That's the only email address ATI is authorized to send out of from RQ4. Okay, so they'll all come that way. Now, James, when we get to this point here, okay, we're ready to send this. We have all the details we need in it. But questions come up about what to do about any expenses they have that day. Can you address those?
Yeah, in the event that anybody has an expense, if you could scan the receipt, just like you have been doing, and this hasn't really ever been much of an issue, but as long as you have a receipt for whatever your expense is, if you could also just include that you had an expense and what the dollar amount was for it, I would also appreciate that. The most important part of this is just attach the receipt. We can keep that for our records, and if I miss it on the first day, as long as I have the receipt, I can always go back and cover it. But you guys have been pretty great about that.
Yeah, so this is Jeff real quick. Just a couple of notes on closing and just some of the things to keep in mind. A small portion of James' job up until this point was doing cash outs. James has a lot of different responsibilities in the back office, a lot of things that I need him to do to make sure the company runs smoothly. The screwed up paperwork with RQ4 has really hurt his ability to do lots of things. It's taken a lot of time to go back through. So thank you guys very much for getting on here. It is imperative we get this right. I think this is a great tool. I think Dan said it's going to be recorded and sent out so that way that you can review if you need to, if you have any questions or anything. We're going to be starting next week. I think that we've given people a pretty fair shot at getting things right. We're going to be starting next week. There's going to be some sort of repercussion for because a lot of this stuff isn't just people putting in the wrong thing. It's just people not trying real hard at getting this right, and it's very important to make sure our finances are right. Another thing, as far as expenses are concerned, like James said, 99% of people are good with it. If you have an expense and you don't have a receipt, that's a giant issue. We can't write it off. We can't expense it. So you need to make sure that you have a receipt. So that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, we understand that salespeople and paperwork aren't necessarily something that go together. And there's a lot of leniency done that way. But when it starts costing the company money, that's where leniency ends. And at this point in time, not doing this work properly or not doing it at all is costing us time and money. We have things we need to do that we're paying extra to do. We have things that we need to do we're not getting to that can make us more money. So the important part is make sure that you do it. Make sure you do it properly, and this is what we're looking for. So as you see down the bottom line here, deposits should be $479. If you didn't do anything change-wise, you would just say deposits $479. But for example, this time I did buy change, so bought change for $20. Actual deposit was $459. If you bought stamps or whatever you did, you would do the same thing. But obviously, those numbers should add up. 20 and 459 should equal to 479. The next thing I want you to do at the bottom of the deposit list, at the bottom of this email, is put your name. Don't send James looking for seeing who it is that did it. Because what James gets is a report that's coming from store 740, 711, whatever. Okay, and then he has to call you to figure out who closed, the whole routine. This thing here, it's going back to like we did before, folks. We played around so much with doing two systems and one on and one not live. I understand some of the consideration, but right now we're live on this thing. Teletracker, tells how long I've been around. Cell is going away as of Saturday morning. Everybody knows that, right? I mean, as of Saturday morning, we'll be able to go back and review things in Cell, but we will not be able to put any new transactions in. So this is what we have. This is what we're living with, and we need to make sure that we do it properly. And, of course, at this point in time, you click send email. I'll open up to any questions.
Dan, yes, this is Michael down.
Michael.
Go ahead.
In Fortune, we've always had that template that we send out, which is, it was match credit and merchantware, match credit and cell.
James, we can't do templates any longer because of the fact that we're emailing directly from the program.
But we've been sending it to James that way, just copying and pasting that template in there, and then we can write out our expenses and why it's off.
Right,
I'm
and that'll end
James
today.
has been getting those.
Yeah, that process will end today. We need consistency across the board, and this is the way we need it done. Not from personal email, not from their business email, but coming directly from the store.
Okay.
Just so James has a consistent format in it. James, am I wrong here, or you have any other statements regarding that?
No, Jackie, I think I know what you're saying. I think I get it. And the way that you're presenting the data isn't actually as important. I think what you're saying is that the things you're typing in the body of the email you have a set way. That's not an issue because you're actually putting in the same exact information. You're just wording it differently. So that would be perfectly fine. But we don't have a way to do the credit like from merchantware cell that we used to. So I don't need that information. If your template just has a deposit in it, it would still be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they've really restricted. There's an online version to get to the data of what's in there, like there was merchantware, but there's a lot more restrictions in it these days. And just because of the rules and such in credit cards, we're going to try to keep that restricted at this point in time. But you may see a minor change in the fact of doing an additional report attachment here. But for the moment, do it just as we're talking about here. I'm sorry, we had another question?
Yes, Dan, this is Michael down in Bridgeport. What we've been doing for our expenses is we've been putting it in petty cash in RQ4. Are we no longer going to be doing that, so we just put in the body of the email and don't worry about putting it in RQ4 at all?
That's a call for Jeff. Jeff, you still on? Okay. I'll need to get back to you on that one, Mike.
Okay.
Has it been showing up okay in your reports as well?
Yeah. In the closing report, if we put in petty cash, it'll actually be there as an expense, and that way the drawer matches up. That way we're not off a couple dollars if we need to go get something or whatnot, and have to put it in the body of the email.
Can every employee access that petty cash though, or just managers?
I believe so. So far, everybody that I've has been able to access it. I'll follow up today and make sure that everybody can access it, and then we can definitely go from there. But that's what we've been doing, is the petty cash for the expenses.
If that's so, then that's a change, because originally petty cash was only accessible by managers and above, and that's why we weren't using it that way.
I think
okay.
only managers. I'm pretty sure it's only managers, and I don't think there's any reason to reinvent the wheel here. Like, if we're being given instructions to do this the same way, I think we should just do it the same way and not be trying to come up with ways that we think are better. I mean, we're being told something. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, there's better, there's worse, and there's the way we're doing it, which is somewhere between all three of those.
The way we're doing it. So
yeah.
I would do it. I would do it exactly how Dan and James are explaining to you today, and forget about any old habits that you have, and move forward with this. If it's changed in the future, it'll be changed, but I don't think we should be trying to make those decisions right now.
All right.
All right.
What we're trying to do is standardize things, folks, so that there's, it's each store has their own individual ways to do things sometimes, and it drives the accountant people crazy. So, this seems very simple to me. It seems very, lined up as to how we do it. I really think for now, until you hear otherwise, this is the way we want to do it. So if you are using petty cash right now, please stop, because I don't think your employees have access, and even if they do, there's whole other issues with that. For right now, if you take change, if you buy paper, if you buy stamps, do it this way.
Will do. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Feel free to ask. I didn't mean to slam down both. They weren't really slammed down. We're trying to get consistency.
I have a question, Dylan. When you were talking about how they can go through and click preview and they see that something's off, there's going to be limited ways for them to check what's off, and generally it's only going to be if they miss like a Datascape payment or something. So in that case, you just need to search through the Datascape history for the day and match them up. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not necessarily a way for them. Do they have access to the sales by invoice report at the rep level to be able to see, count off payments to match to Datascape, or is that's still not available?
At the moment, that's still not available. My best suggestion would be that what they're going to find is they miscounted something, and if they did miss something, they can go back and they can take a look. They do have copies of the invoices, so they can actually go and do a physical count of invoices. But at the moment, understand, folks, the restrictions you have on RQ4 are restrictions that have been placed on us in terms of certain levels. RQ4 is set up to run a variety of different type businesses. It's very rare in the retail world that you guys have access to the information you've had access to with CellCell and the information you have with RQ4, for example. When you go to sell a shirt at Penny, and you're a salesperson there, you have no idea what time, how much that shirt cost, no idea what type profit. So RQ4 is set up for a whole bunch of retailing, and in order to do that, they've made some trade-offs. And getting you information regarding the invoicing and all that they're asking for is restricted at this point in time. We're working on getting you more information, but the information you get has to be something that happens through all ATI, not just through JazzTech. And we've been successful in some cases, but we're still working on more. Everybody saw the email regarding the changes in min-max and Verizon, right, for pricing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's as a result of us pushing hard to make it better for you and easier for us as well. So we're out there working. Jeff is beating them up every day trying to get things proper. But if you have issues like that you'd like to have see done, send an email off to Jeff or I, and we'll take a look and see whether or not you already have access to it, or if there's a way we can get that to you. But as of walking out of here today, it's 8:54, so I'm going to go off shortly here for the next session. As of today, this is what we're expecting.
Dan, this is Justin from Mount Pleasant. Could we do a test run while we have the reps in store before we all leave for the day for that closing email directly from RQ, just to make sure it works from our side to your side?
A test run email, you mean?
Yeah, could we do a test one today? Would that cause any issues?
You could actually go into training.
We could just do a dummy live test just to make sure it works 100%.
So you're telling me nobody in your store has been using the email at all, right?
We have not.
Okay. James, how do you feel about that? What do you think?
Can they try using a report or a previous one? They could like yesterday.
Guys, send off a report, okay? So here's what you should do. I'm logged in as a rep right now, okay? So I'm going to cancel this out for the moment.
The only reason I ask is Jeff and myself are here, and Jeff closes tonight. I'd rather, if we have an issue, we can deal with it today rather than 9 o'clock tonight.
If you go to reports and you go to cash, okay, type in the word cash.
Okay.
And you go to cash summary report. And make sure your store is up there. Run the report. Okay, up here, you see that little magnifying glass there, or little symbol there? You click on that, you can email this as an Excel sheet.
Okay.
Okay. You would type in the address. Now, I can tell you this one is not going to work. This is what will happen if you're not properly set up, okay, because I'm on training here for a fake rep, so it is not going to work for me, okay? If you click this normally, it would work. If you get this error, then you know your system's not working and you need to call me today.
The error doesn't pop up.
Pardon me?
We don't.
So we should have all our reps that report today to verify 100% that they can email?
Yes.
Perfect.
This is what they'll get. They'll say iqtransport.communications email. The from address has not been specified. And you don't have to. You don't have to use payments@jazztechwz.com here as your source for this test email. So James doesn't get blasted with a bunch of reports.
I would rather you send me a ton of emails right now and get it right at the end of the day. So if you have to do that, I won't complain.
Okay, fine. Whichever. You can use whatever address here, and if you get this error, that means you're not set up. And
what error?
It's about a 2-hour process to get this. It's about a 2-hour process to get this done through ATI. So please don't wait till 3 o'clock to call me on this. Okay.
Perfect. That's what I want to do now. That way, if we have any issues, we can contact you immediately.
And in fact, I just said something wrong. I said before you call me, please don't email me so I have the name of the person, the correct spelling of their name, what store they're in, and that they have a problem. Because I'll put those all together and take care of them. If you call me and leave me a voicemail, it's hey, this is James. Fix Phil's for me, and I don't know who Phil is. Okay, so an email needs to be sent to me if you cannot do this, with the name of the person that can't do it, and what location they're at.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Good point, Justin. Good point. Chris, anything else from you? Okay, folks. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you joining us. We'll be posting this. I'll send you out a group me with the information. Okay? Thanks. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.
I've started recording the session, too. So if you don't understand anything, please feel free to ask questions. If you need to review it, at the end of the session, there'll be an email sent out with the link to the recording so folks can share that as well. We're looking for consistency in RQ4 reporting, and particularly for the closing. And we're generally not getting that at this point in time. So this session is meant to show us exactly what it is to do, what we need done, and how we want it done. We're getting different varieties and different ways of doing it right now. We need to get it across one way. That's it. So whenever you go to close, you're going to always go to cash management under sales, okay? And you're going to do new cash out. And I know a lot of this is repetitive, guys, and I apologize for that, but it has to be that way at this point. You always will have on your cash the total amount you collected as well as what they call the float here. So the number in count cash is every dollar bill, every 20, every 50, everything you have in your drawer at that moment. Okay? And we're going to do 25 here. And we're going to do 15, or I'm sorry, 3 here. And we're going to...
Dan, I'm not sure if your thing is showing on every computer. I still just see the email.
Anybody else not able to see the?
Yeah, mine's not. Yeah. Mine's not moving either.
Yeah,
my guess is only 25R.
Yeah, but there's not even 25 listed here.
It's not moving on Lebo's screen either.
Okay, let me pause it. Come back again. Now you're seeing count cash on yours?
No.
Yeah, I can see it.
We don't have everybody seeing it, right?
Warren can't see it.
Correct.
Yeah,
Butler can't see it either.
Newman can't see it.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to have to ask everybody, because we do have too many on here at this point, apparently, or we did. I think it's still retaining some. I'm going to actually close my session and reopen it. And you guys stay on the phone, but log back into the computer after I close off, okay? It may still be hanging on to those terminals that were not originally there. So stay on the phone. We're going to quit this session.